Hello and welcome to Humanities 101 Introduction to Pop Culture. I am your instructor, Professor Kirk Higgins. This will be an introductory video. We'll be talking about the two different classes. Please keep in mind that I'm talking about two different courses, both Humanities 101, but one is fully online and the other is a hybrid course. Be sure you know which one you are in and act appropriately. So anyway, this will refer to two different courses that I'm teaching. Again, both Humanities 101 Pop Culture, but one being hybrid and one being fully online. So we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. We want to introduce the class, tell you what we're going to discuss in the class, what is pop culture according to me. You may have a different idea. Talk about the syllabus, talk about the books, and also talk about my experience. Let's talk about the two different classes. I shouldn't say courses. Courses would probably mean whether you're taking a geology course or a math course or a humanities course. But there are two different sections of this class. We have section 131, which is the fully online section. We have section 142, which is the hybrid section. 131 online, 142 hybrid. So the 131 fully online is fully online. There are no in-class meetings whatsoever. You will go into Blackboard, and every week starting Tuesday, let me check my calendar, Tuesday, January 24th, there will be a brand new week 1 folder starting at noon. Everything happens at noon Tuesday for all the online stuff. The hybrid class also does all the online stuff. But back to the fully online class. So everything, that assignment folder will open Tuesday noon, Tuesday the 24th, not the 17th. School doesn't start till the 18th, but our class, our online class, does not officially start till the 24th. I've always done all my classes Tuesday through Tuesday. Each online folder will last for 1 week. You have 1 week to do a discussion forum and also a quiz. This goes for the hybrid class also. Everything I'm saying for online also applies to hybrid. So please pay attention, everyone. You have exactly 1 week to do a discussion and a quiz worth 10 points each. So each week has 20 points built right into it in the online discussion and online quiz, which are in the assignment folders. And that closes at Tuesday noon, no exception. Always closes at Tuesday noon. I've had a lot of people have confusion about this because different online classes do different things. A lot of them end at Sunday midnight, which I don't believe in. And I've worked on this, and this is what I've come up with. Works good for me. So that's the online class. Let's talk about the hybrid class, which is 142. Again, be sure you know which class you are in. If you are in section 142, that is a hybrid class, half on ground, half online. So you will do all of the online stuff we're talking about, but you will write fewer papers. But you will come to class 8 times, only 8 times. We will not have class every week. We do have our first class the 23rd, January 23rd, Monday, 5:30, room 3215. Be sure you are there. If you are not there, you will be dropped. Again, you will be dropped. And for the online people, the fully online people, if you do not sign into the class and do the discussion board during the first week, you also will be dropped. So online people, you must do the discussion board the first week. On ground people, hybrid people, you must come to class Monday night or you will be dropped. This class is full and I have a waiting list. So anyway, I'm talking too much. Back to the hybrid class. We will have class every other week starting Monday the 23rd. Every other week. Please just mark that on your calendar. Just go every other week right through the semester. That should give you 1 week in January, 2 weeks in February, 2 weeks in March, and 3 weeks in April. Every other week. And don't worry about the spring break. That's all figured right in there. You will not have an assignment folder on spring break, but it still fits right into our every other week schedule. And our classes are Monday night from 5:30 to about 8 o'clock. And we'll talk about whether we're going to take a break in those classes or what. So please be sure you are there. If you are in section 142 hybrid, Monday night the 23rd at 5:30, room 3215. So hopefully that's it for the two sections, and we can move on to what this class is about. What is this class about? Well, my background is in music. I've been a musician all my life, have a degree in music, also have a degree in history. So naturally I tend to music history. I've taught a lot of rock and roll and how rock and roll intersects with society. My favorite album, Body Count, by Ice-T. The Ice-T Body Count, one of the very first rap rock records with the infamous parental advisory sticker right there. That's what this class is all about, right there. Well, not really. So I really start the class with the 50s and the 60s, probably the two most fertile times for modern pop culture and youth culture. The 50s and the 60s. Really dig into the 50s. What was happening in the 50s? We're just getting out of World War II. Lots of things are happening. We have youth culture for the first time, the first really strong youth culture, teenage culture. Teen kids have money. They can buy cars. They can customize cars, they can buy clothes, they can buy makeup, they can buy perfume, they can go to the store and buy their own record. They can buy a radio and listen to their own music on the radio. Very important. First time in history this had really happened. So we've got youth culture, we also have technology, we have radio, we have recordings, and we have amplified music, we have electric guitars, holy cats. And so we've got youth culture. We've got technology, and we also, most importantly, we have the African American experience, the black culture, the movement of blacks, of disenfranchised blacks who are now starting to come into their own and feeling this concept of civil rights, and also feeling the crushing poverty of the South, and the African American people moving out of the South and moving to the north to get jobs, moving to LA, moving to Chicago, moving to Kansas City, moving to Detroit, moving to New York, moving to all these areas where they can get jobs in the wartime and the post-war period. And they bring their exciting, vibrant music with them. Muddy Waters moves to Chicago, the great Chicago blues man. If you have never heard Muddy Waters, get on YouTube today and listen to some Muddy Waters, the greatest. You do not need to listen to any other blues except Muddy Waters. If you've got your head stuck into Eric Clapton or Stevie Ray Vaughan or Joe Bonamassa or one of these other white boy wannabe blues, listen to some Muddy Waters. It'll change your life if you love the blues. Anyway, I digress. So pop culture in the 50s, then pop culture in the 60s. Very dear to my heart. I was there. Well, I was there in my living room and watched the Beatles on Ed Sullivan. I saw Jimi Hendrix live. Really my era, but the reason the 60s were so important is because, and we can't dance around the issues of sex and drugs and violence in this class because there's a lot of that in this class, but the drug revolution that happened in the 60s was so important, and the Beatles were so important, and the 60s really exploded with a whole new counterculture. The 50s got it in gear, really started it, but the 60s really kicked it into gear, really kick-started it, and created this entire counterculture, which we're still sort of swimming in today. But then we also take a break and go back to the 20s, the true origin of pop culture, and really look at some of the similarities between the Roaring Twenties, the 1920s, the Roaring Twenties, and the 50s and 60s. The Roaring Twenties were fueled by illegal substances. In the 60s, marijuana, LSD. In the 20s, alcohol. Remember, that was prohibition time. Alcohol was illegal in the 20s, but many people drank. They went to speakeasies. What did they do in the speakeasy, which was an illegal bar? They drank illegal liquor, and they listened to the brand new, crazy, original black jazz music. Similar to what happened in the 50s and 60s, pop culture, the same thing keeps happening. So anyway, that's all about music. But we also talk about film and television. I'm getting more and more into film all the time. I was never a film historian until I started teaching this class a couple of years ago. But I'm finding it more and more interesting, especially the concept of rating systems. And we'll talk a lot about rating systems. More on that in a minute. But especially this movement from the 50s into the 60s of the expansion of sex, drugs, and violence in the movies, specifically movies such as Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, The Graduate, Easy Rider, and the great Jon Voight, Dustin Hoffman, Midnight Cowboy, the only movie to receive an X rating and still win an Academy Award, Midnight Cowboy. All these movies in the 60s, all very important movies. Also Bonnie and Clyde, I forgot to mention Bonnie and Clyde with Warren Beatty. And really shows this expansion of the use of sex, violence, and drugs in the movies. We need to move along. We're going to run out of time. I think I can only go 15 minutes on the YouTube videos these days. I'm not sure. They keep expanding the time on me. So this idea of rating systems in movies, and the rating system came around in 1968 to tackle these issues. The original rating system of GMRX. Today we have GPG. I can never remember the modern one. It's a five-way system now. G, P, G, ends with NC17. We no longer have X. So be sure you know what that is, since obviously I don't. And also how this moves over into the music industry later on. And we have Tipper Gore, wife of Al Gore, and her Parents Music Resource Center, PMRC. Be sure you know about the PMRC. Wikipedia it today, Wiki it today, Google it today. PMRC, Parents Music Resource Center with Tipper Gore. They came up with this thing we see right here, our parental advisory sticker. The same idea that we're trying to censor what is on our music. Did it do a good thing? Did it do a bad thing? Is this a First Amendment issue? Should this be a First Amendment issue? Should we be able to do it at all? Should a store be able to sell whatever they want? Should a kid be able to buy whatever he or she wants? And then for our last part of the class, we will dive into video games and some of the controversy on video games for our last 2 or 3 weeks. And also the video game industry has its own rating system, and there's been some legal battles about that. So the main thrust of this class is not to just move through the history of the class, but also to talk about these rating systems and censorship issues and First Amendment issues and lawsuit issues, and whether these are good things, whether they are bad things, and whether or not they had the intended outcome. And this is also a critical thinking course, and we will be applying our critical thinking knowledge that we'll be discussing in this class to these ideas of First Amendment issues. What is the First Amendment? Heater just came on. Hope that doesn't make too much noise for us here. Oh, we've got to move along. We've got to talk about a few things. The books. Be sure you get these books. Anti-Rock, The Opposition to Rock and Roll. Get this as soon as you can and begin reading it. Any edition is fine. Get it used on eBay or Amazon.com. eBay, Amazon.com, also available in the bookstore. Very cheap. Don't pay a lot of money for that book. Get it today and start reading. Secondly, Nonsense. This is our critical thinking book. Get this book, get no other. Be sure it is this exact book with the red cover with this exact subtitle, Red Herring, Straw Men, Sacred Cows, How We Abuse Language, How We Abuse Logic in Our Everyday Language by Gula. Get this exact book, accept no other. This is the only book that you are allowed to have for this class. There are many editions. Don't get the wrong edition. So, grading. How do we grade in this class? We have 440 points. The online is slightly different than the hybrid. The online has 4 papers. The hybrid class only has 3 papers, but in addition, the hybrid class has 8 10-point worksheets that we do in each on-ground class. Again, that's just for the hybrid class, not for the fully online class. So each class does add up to 440 points. We also have weekly discussion board and weekly quizzes worth 130 points for 260 points total for the quizzes and the discussion board. Then we also have our papers. So be sure you're ready to do all that stuff. Be sure you have a good online hookup. Let me look over my stuff a little bit here. I think we've covered just about everything. Oh, a few more things. Of course, there's always a few more things. Where are we at? 13 minutes. We're at 13 minutes. Email only. You can only communicate with me through email. I will not give out my personal phone number. You cannot call me at the college except for 1 hour on Monday. We'll talk about that in a minute. Email me. Email me with any question you might have. If you find a mistake anywhere in any of my lectures, anywhere in any of the readings, anywhere in the syllabus, let me know. I want to hear about any mistakes. Ask me any question you want, please. Ask me what your grade is. Check your grades regularly. You can check your grades on Blackboard, so be sure you do that. But you can always email me and say, what is my percentage right now? That's hard for you to figure out, but it's easy for me to figure out. I can always figure out your percentage. And be sure you stay on the quizzes and the discussion board. Every week you have to do this. Almost everyone in this class who got a B or a C consistently missed discussion board, quizzes, or for our hybrid classes, the on-ground sections. So be sure you're really taking care of that. Most people do very well on the papers. I'm very pleased with the writing in this class. We've got to hurry. Only 55 seconds left. Email only. Office hour is 4 till 5 on Monday, room 3, 238. Come see me in my office, please. Nobody comes to see me in my office. The phone number is 717-7119. You can call me, but only during that 1 hour. So, there we have it. Introduction to Humanities 101. Please email me with any questions, and I will see the on-ground people, the hybrid people, section 142 on Monday night the 23rd, and the fully online section, be sure you do the discussion forum, the week 1 discussion forum, before Tuesday the 31st. Had to check my calendar. And thanks a lot for watching this, and if you can, please watch it 2 or 3 times. Bye.